Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. We, each of us, as individuals, are under the influence of the elemental forces within this illusory world. And those elemental forces cause delusion. And that delusion leads to obsession. And that obsession leads to recurring thought patterns that we have trouble escaping from. These thought patterns cover a vast multitude of varying things. And they have to do with what is referred to by our teacher as the 96 worldly obsessions. They can deal with money, they can deal with women, they can deal with men, they can deal with fame, they can deal with power, they can deal with almost anything that you can think of. You can get stuck mentally thinking about those things. The problem is that when you get stuck in one of these mind patterns, there's no cure for it. The only way out of it is to be relieved of that thought pattern. But it doesn't take you anywhere. There's no conclusion to it. It's not like if you obsess over a certain thing like power, that gaining power will somehow cure the obsession with power. The elemental things that we obsess over can't be cured. They can't come to a satisfactory conclusion. The only conclusion that they can come to is to shift them towards something that has a cure. And the only obsession, mental or otherwise, that has a cure is the obsession to know God. There is an end to that. And the point that should be understood is that that is the only point that has an end to it. That is the only thought pattern that can take you to a conclusion. All of the other ones don't have conclusions. And that's why mental illness occurs. Everybody is looking for some kind of solution with their obsessive thought patterns, and there isn't, nor can there be. And we need to understand that. We need to understand that obsessive thought patterns have no solution. Once we can get hold of that and grasp that, it will become easier for us to let go of them. I mean, if you can come to the conclusion that you're not going anywhere with your obsessions and that they're not going to take you anywhere, you might find it easier to give them up. Now, if we can direct ourselves towards an overwhelming need, an overwhelming love, an overwhelming direction towards our Creator, then we can find solutions in our existence. We can find peace in our existence. We can fill the empty holes that we have in our existence that we otherwise may try to fill through elemental obsessions, through elemental things, through elemental needs. Elemental needs can never satisfy us, and as long as we are overwhelmed by elemental needs, we will constantly stay in a state of need, in a state of not being fulfilled. And this is where love comes in. Love is like an elixir that does away with all of the obsessive needs that we may have. Love is an elixir that does away with the material things that we need. All of a sudden, they don't become important when love enters the equation. And that's why an understanding of unconditional love is so important for each and every one of us to move forward to finding peace in existence. Love is a great equalizer. You see, we, as long as we are in the midst of obsessive material wants and needs, are in a state of separation from reality. Because of our obsession with the material world and our obsession with illusion, we are blocked from reality. But love does away with these obsessions. When we are in a state of unconditional love, when everything that we see, we feel kindness towards and love towards, our duality fades away, and our needs fade away, and our desires fade away, because love puts us in a state of equilibrium and in a state of peace. It's the jumping off point to reality. So we have to be able to find love to be able to find reality. And through love, we can find reality. Through the eyeglasses of love, we see the world in a different way than the obsessive need that we have when we are attached to the material world. And it gives us an entirely different point of view. It gives us the point of view where we are now, as opposed to something that needs, we are something that gives. We are something that is able to direct our being in the manner that God focuses on creation, which is as the creator, the sustainer, and the nourisher. God is giving all the time. God cannot be diminished. So no matter how much God gives, there is no lack. Man, on the other hand, fears diminishment. Man fears that he will have less. Man fears that he won't have enough. But when love enters into the equation, that fear dissipates. That fear goes away. Love overcomes fear. Love overcomes obsession. Love is a cure for all of the difficulties that we have in our lives. And we have to understand that love. When we were with our teacher, we had the opportunity, of course, to watch how he interacted with people and how he did things. And one of the things that we saw is as soon as something was given to him, it was also given away. And it was given away without any strings, without any requirements of return or requirements of some kind of debt. We need to be able to walk through this world and be an aid in this world without expecting anything in return. Imagine the debt that we would be in if there was an expectation of a return for everything that Allah has given us. Allah gives us air. Allah gives us food. Allah gives us our daily necessities. Allah gives us life. And Allah loves us. And what does He want back from us? He just wants us to know Him and to love Him. So, is it possible for us to walk through the world and be able to be an assist in this world without requiring payment for what we do, without requiring payment for whatever aid that we give out in the world? There's a story of, this is a modern day story, of a teacher who was greeting people, and this teacher would always give some money to poor people as they passed through the line to see him. And he was looking and he saw a poor man as the next person in line, and he didn't have any money to give him. And he saw behind the poor man a rich man, and this rich man, he was sure, or he knew, was going to give him some money. And he thought if he had the rich man come in first, he would have some money to give to the poor man. So he called the rich man ahead of the poor man in to see him. And the poor man and the rich man gave him an envelope after they had their discussion. And then he called in the poor man. And the poor man immediately began to scream at the teacher. You took him ahead of me because he has money. You disrespect me. You don't show the same kind of love towards me because I'm poor. And he went on and on and on. And the teacher didn't say a word. And when he was finished, he gave him a blessing and gave him the envelope that he was given by the rich man. And he left. Later that same day, the poor man was walking in the street, and the rich man saw him, and he stopped to give him a ride to where he was going. While that happened, he saw the envelope that he had given the teacher in the man's pocket. When that happened, he dropped the man off and went back to the teacher. And he said, I saw that you gave the envelope to the poor man. And the teacher said, yes. And he said, you should have looked in it. There was a sum in 5 figures in that envelope. And the teacher looked at him and he said, the amount that was in the envelope has no importance to me. It does have importance to the man I gave it to, but it has no importance to me. And the teacher's attitude was that he was a pass-through for that money. And he was never attached to it in any way whatsoever. So it had no importance to him, but it had great importance to the person that he gave it to. We need to learn how to live this life understanding that example. Things come through our lives and pass through our lives, and we have to know how to handle them. We have to know how to interact. We have to know how to help people. And most importantly, when we choose to help people, we have to do it without any strings attached. We have to learn how to be able to give and not expect anything in return. And that's a very difficult lesson to learn, but it's a very important lesson to learn, because if we give things and we hold on to what we give after we've given it, karma attaches to us because of the way we have acted. So in the act of giving, in the act of helping, in the act of assisting others, it has to be done without attachment, or else we end up creating karma for ourselves. And it's not good karma, it's bad karma. Good karma can also be created for ourselves that assists us in our life. But we have to understand the difference in the situations. There was a Buddhist monk who was in contemplation, and he was by himself with one assistant. And while he was in his meditation, he saw that his one disciple was going to pass away within 8 days. And he came out of his meditation and he told his disciple to go see his family, not telling him what was going to happen. And the man was happy because he hadn't seen his family in years. And he went to see his family. And on the way there, he saw a small cave right next to a river, and there were thousands of ants coming in and out of the cave. But he also saw that the water was rising in the river next to the cave. So what he did was he created a diversion of the water so that it wouldn't kill the ants, and that they would be able to continue to go in and out of the cave without drowning. He then went on, saw his family, and at the end came back to his master. When his master saw him, he was in meditation. And in his meditation, he saw what this man had done for the ants. And he saw that the karma, the good karma that he created in his act, had done away with the death sentence that was hanging over him. And he wasn't going to pass now because of an act that he did. So in the same way that we can create bad karma, we can also create good karma. And good karma can change that which is destined for us. So we should always know that our destiny can be altered by acts on our behalf that are altruistic and that are giving. And we should enter into situations where we help others. Everything that we do for others will also be done for us. Every time that we help others, we will always be given help. Now, the one that we will get the help from is the one who cannot be diminished, the one who gives without losing anything. And we should also understand that in our giving, we will be given. And that this is an understanding that we have to get in this world. We have to understand that there is a source of plenitude that is a cornucopia that is full beyond measure and is never diminished. And from that source is where we are given when we give. And we have to believe this. We have to set up an attitude in ourselves where this is understood, believed, and part of who we are. It makes our way through this world much easier. When we can lose the fear of being diminished, we become different people. And the way we lose the fear of being diminished is to attach ourselves to that which cannot be diminished. And what is it that cannot be diminished? God cannot be diminished. So if we attach ourselves to that which cannot be diminished, we lose our fear of being diminished because we are intermingled with that which is plentiful beyond measure, plentiful beyond human comprehension. This ability to not be afraid of anything because of our connection to God changes who we are and brings about peace into our being. The biggest problem, or one of the biggest problems that people have, is they become afraid of different situations. Some people fear they won't have enough money. Some people fear they won't have enough fame. Some people fear their jobs. Some people fear their housing. Some people fear and fear and fear. But fear has to be diminished. And fear is what stops us from being able to surrender to our Creator. You see, when we enter into a fear mode, we think we have to do something in order to resolve the situation that's making us afraid. In truth, Allah resolves all situations. Allah takes care of all situations, and Allah is the doer. But when we are in a fear mode, we can't surrender because we become panicky and think we have to do whatever it is that has to be done to solve the situation. There is a greater force than ours that will help us if we surrender to that force. And we have to somehow figure out how to do that. And it happens when we enter into a state of love, into a state of kindness, and it is like a salve that wipes away our fear, wipes away our anxiety, wipes away all of the things that are difficult for us. There's great peace in surrender. There's great peace in understanding that Allah is the doer. Because as long as you think you are the doer, as long as we think we are the doer, then we enter into all kinds of doubts. Can we do this? Is it possible? Am I competent enough to accomplish this? But if you let go and let Allah do it, then you know that the most competent is the one who's in charge. The one who can do anything is the one who's in charge. The one who is without limits is the one who is in charge. The one who cannot be diminished is in charge. And he will take care of our situations. This takes tremendous faith. And this takes tremendous love. And it takes a lifetime of understanding the truth of how things get done. As we have more and more years of experience, we see that things happen not according to our intentions, but according to God's time. So things may not happen now for us or in the past, but they happen in a way that comes out appropriately over time, because Allah's plan is in existence for us. We have to get in tune with it. And we get in tune with it by cleaving to our Lord, by cleaving to our Creator. And how do we do that? What is the secret to becoming close to our Lord? And we've repeated it in many different ways, and all of the teachers have spoken about it in many different ways. But what it comes down to is understanding Allah's qualities and integrating them into our being. So for us to be successful in reality, we have to be merciful. For us to be successful in reality, we have to be compassionate. For us to be successful in reality, we have to be peaceful. For us to be successful in reality, we have to be patient. For us to be successful in reality, we have to have loving kindness. Without these qualities, we cannot be successful. So no matter what it looks like in the world, no matter what we've accumulated within the world, true success doesn't exist unless the qualities of Allah have integrated into our being. And unless we take that step into those qualities, success is not ours, and we are constantly fearful. We are constantly feeling as if there's something else that we need. And the truth is, there is something else that we need. If Allah isn't in our lives, there's always something else that we need, because the only obsession in this world that has a cure is the obsession to know Allah. So whatever else it is we're chasing, whatever else it is we're trying to accomplish, whatever else it is that we're trying to do, unless we have Allah in our life, there will still be an emptiness. There will still be something that needs to be filled within us. And you've seen it. You've seen all of these people who become incredibly famous and end up with drugs because they are self-medicating because of the fears that they have about, will this fame fade away? Well, the answer is, of course, it will. Will this money fade away? Well, the answer is, of course, it will. Will whatever they're involved in the world fade away? Well, the answer is, of course, it will. Everything fades away. The only thing that doesn't fade away is that which is eternal, and that is our Lord. And the only way that we can suspend the fear of things fading away is to be attached to that which is eternal, as opposed to that which is temporary. And we have to make that shift in our consciousness. We have to make that shift in the way we understand things, which means that we have to give more priority to our relationship with God than we do to our relationship with the world. At the front of our consciousness has to be our relationship with God, as opposed to our relationship with wealth or fame or women or anything else in this world. And of course, when I say women, I also mean men. Misogyny And the difference between men and women is something of the past. It's not something that we acknowledge any longer. That shift has finally occurred, and I think we all understand that shift. The point being that all of us, male or female, have these same obsessions and these same fears. And for us to become whole, we need to find what the solution to these obsessions and these fears is. And we need to be conscious of the fact that there is a solution. We are not stuck in being in a situation where we can't solve our problems. But the solution to our problems always comes through the same place. The real solution to all of our problems comes through our connection to our Lord. Yet, we somehow believe that the solution to our problems comes through many, many different ways. And it doesn't. The solution to our problem doesn't come through a change in government. The solution to our problem doesn't come through a change in jobs. The solution to our problem doesn't come through a change in wife or husband. The solution to our problem comes in establishing a strong relationship with our Lord. And then everything else gets taken care of because we have surrendered to our Lord. And when we surrender our fears, we surrender our needs, we surrender our desires, we surrender our discontentment, we surrender everything. And when everything goes, what's left is the essence of things. And the essence of things is what's eternal. And if we can bring ourselves down to that point of the essential and let go of everything else, then we will know the truth of things. And then we can glide through this world as if we were on a magic carpet that took us from one place to the next at ease. And to do this, we have to be one-pointed towards our Lord. We have to have love towards our Lord. We have to have love towards humanity. We have to have love towards all of his creation without exception. We have to let go of differences. And as we let go of differences, all of the veils that separate us from our Creator begin to disappear. Every difference that we have, that we carry in this world, separates us from our Creator. And we need to understand that these separations are what hold us back from truth. So, if we dislike people, it holds us back from truth. If we have race hatred, it holds us back from truth. If we have religion hatred, it holds us back from truth. Any kind of animosity that we carry within our being holds us back from truth. Any kind of differences that we see between ourselves and others holds us back from truth. We need to understand the non-duplicitous unity within existence, and that we are part of that. And as we grasp, understand, and believe that, we become whole. And if we don't do that, then we are in a situation where truth is far from us and we're left grasping to understand reality. It's like a man who can't swim in a body of water. There's a lot of struggle going on, and it's a losing fight. So we need to learn how to surrender to our Creator and let Him pull us out of this ocean of illusion. There is no other solution. There is no other way. And people may tell you about all kinds of different things that you can do in order to resolve your problems. Get a bigger car, get a bigger house, lose weight, invest in this stock, all going to change your life. None of it is going to change your life. The only thing that's going to change your life is to find love and to find a connection to your Lord, to find a connection to that which is eternal, to that which isn't subject to all of the disappearances, the dissipation of what goes on in this world. And this is what we have to pray for. We have to ask our Lord on a constant basis that illusion no longer cloud us, that illusion no longer veil us, that somehow we are able to see through the deception of the world to see the truth of the Creator, that we are able to see through the temporary things of the world to the truth of our Creator, that we are able to understand mercy and compassion in reality, that we're able to understand it in truth, and that we are able to give it out freely into this world without a need for something back. We need to be able to give freely. We need to be able to live freely. And to live freely, we need to be connected to reality. Hak is not just a word. It's a state of being. And that state of being of hakikat, hak, is when man is intermingled with Allah and is moving further and further on that path towards Allah. And this is the path that we have to take, that we have to intend to be on. And this takes a regular, daily reinvigoration of our intention. We can't just float through this existence without consciously making an effort to be close to our Lord and consciously making an effort to cleanse our being of all of that which is attached to the illusory world. So we have to ask, Allah, take illusion away from us. Allah, cleanse our being of illusion. Allah, allow us to see truth. Allah, open up our hearts so that we can understand light and understand the nature that you are, as opposed to the nature of this illusion. Take our love and focus it towards you, not towards this world of illusion. We are temporary manifestations. Show us eternity. We are here on a temporary basis. Show us reality. Show us truth. Show us that which is what the prophets spoke about. Show us that which the Ketubs came to bring to us. Allah, it has been the intention of all of your servants since creation that man should find a way to know you. And they've brought instruction that man should find a way to know you. So bring us close to you. Fulfill that intention of the prophets. Fulfill that intention of the Ketubs. Fulfill that intention of all of your servants, that man be brought close to you, and fulfill that need that exists in each of us to know you, because our salvation is with you alone, O Lord, And to gain that salvation, we need your involvement in our lives. So we surrender to you to take us towards you. May that be our fate. Ameen. Ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.